Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, July 14th, 2025. I am Dave Biddle. I'll be joined by Dan Rubin in just a moment. So, can you guys actually be still basking in the glow of the national championship, and be frustrated with Ohio State's recruiting efforts this cycle? I mean, I'm not going to tell you guys what to do, but I would advise against it. But Dan and I are going to get into. We know some fans are frustrated about recruiting, and of course we understand it to an extent, especially D-line recruiting. But Ohio State has the number 6 class in the country for 2026. We'll talk a little bit about recruiting and whether fans should be a little bit concerned, or maybe if it's a little overblown. But we're going to start the show talking about Connor Stallions. The gift that keeps on giving. He responded to TCU coach Sonny Dykes, and I don't know if Stallions doesn't understand, but what he said makes him look even worse, makes Michigan look even worse as well. So we're going to get to all that. We're going to bring Dan in just a moment, talk about the latest from Mr. Connor Stallions. And before we do that, I'll let you guys know about Cornbread hemp. Are you guys ready for your healthy happy hour? Cornbread's THC gummies offer a balanced sense of happiness and relaxation. I also have these seltzers here, Cornbread THC seltzers. They have America's first USDA organic THC edible, proudly grown in Kentucky. They have 10 milligrams of THC per gummy for just the right dose, perfect for taking the edge off without making you feel anxious or paranoid like other cannabis edibles. Cornbread uses no harsh solvents, no synthetic ingredients. Cornbread's gummies are Farm Bill compliant and legal for adults over 21. And again, don't forget about their seltzers as well. If you're looking for a healthier way to enjoy a carefree moment, you have to give Cornbread Hemp a try. They've created the first ever USDA organic THC gummy that's 100% legal. As a special offer for Bucknuts Morning 5 listeners, you can get 30% off your first order. Just visit cornbreadhemp.com/bucknuts. Use promo code Bucknuts at checkout. Again, that's cornbreadhemp.com/bucknuts. Use code Bucknuts for 30% off your first order. Cheers to a healthier happy hour. If you're concerned about Ohio State recruiting, you might need some Cornbread hemp, but I don't think you guys should be concerned about it. You definitely should not be concerned about Dan Rubin. He's looking good as always. Good to see you on a Monday.
Thanks, sir. How are you?
Doing great. I've been laughing my butt off reading this latest from Connor Stallions. So Sonny Dykes, the TCU coach, comes out and says, that playoff semifinal where we upset Michigan, we were told that they knew all our signals, and this was beyond the typical sign stealing stuff, that they had this operation going on. He's like, so we switched everything up. We basically tricked them. And instead of saying nothing, Connor Stallions comes out and makes it even worse, in my opinion, for him in Michigan, and says, no, you didn't trick us. We knew all of the signs. We knew what you were doing, and we just didn't tackle well, and we didn't play well. It's like, oh, okay, Connor. He's just the typical narcissist, man. He can't keep his mouth shut, and he just keeps lying. If you're going to cheat, you're also going to lie, so it's no surprise here.
I guess over the last, since this has all been outed, it's like there's been an effort, or there was an effort by Michigan fans and by Connor Stallions at some point in time to kind of tamp down the impact he had, and he was part of that. And now it feels like he's like, wait a minute. Spotlights are leaving a little bit. Someone says something, he's like, oh, back over here. I'm not getting the credit. So he just wants credit, for what he did. Feels like you can tell he feels like he played a real role in helping them win games. They've tried to minimize his impact, which was, I guess, good for the overall vibe of winning the title. And now he's like, wait a minute. The pendulum has swung too far away from me. So I think Connor Stallions is a huge Connor Stallions fan and wants to make sure he gets as much credit as possible. I don't know that Connor Stallions will do anything else the rest of his life legal that will get him as much publicity, and he probably sees that slipping away, whether if he notices it or he subliminally realizes he's fading from the public consciousness. Sonny Dykes gave him the opening to get back in there, and he took it.
You think Connor Stallions, you think he's a fan of Mackinac Island?
Ha! Well, one thing he should be told before he goes up there, they do not tell you about, and that is, if you don't like horse manure, you're in the wrong spot. Somehow that does not go on the brochures. It's not, you can't get the whiff on the way into the island. So someone should have told me that was a one and done for us. We were Cooper flagging that place. One and done.
We went, and I was, it was fine for a while. And then, I was like, all right, I'm going to go back to the mainland, go back to the Airbnb. And the wife wasn't ready to go yet. So we brokered a deal where they would go back the next day and I would just stay on the mainland. And I thought that was a great deal. So I get why people like it. It's just not for me. And then you sent me that thing. It's like for the third straight year, it's the number one like vacation spot in the world. It's like, no, not in the world, but like in the United States. It's like, really? Okay, sure.
Here's I sent you sent me an emoji, like, because Dave and I want to be a tad sarcastic on the tweet, on the text. You sent me one saying, who loves Mackinac Island? People from Mackinac Island. And I just, in efficiency, I sent back poop emoji, horse. And that kind of consistency.
Well, you called it. That's why I was telling you. You called it. You told me ahead of time, like, who loves Mackinac Island? The people on Mackinac Island. I'm like, okay. And it's not like it didn't make sense, but it didn't until I was there. And I'm like, okay, I see. Then I texted you. I'm like, you nailed it. Yeah.
I'm biased. I was raised going to the beach, not to the lake. So I'm already biased ahead of the game. I actually bought national champion Nikes to wear up there, which I still have that are sweet. Hard pass on Mackinac for this guy.
The boat ride there and back was awesome.
Exactly. And Andre gets it. When I say horse manure, I'm not kidding. I'm not saying like, oh, there's some, like, it'll be in your pictures. Put it that way. You won't be able to avoid it.
Yeah, and people are saying the flowers are beautiful up there. They are. They really are. And there is a Biddle house on Mackinac Island. That part, obviously, I enjoy that. But yeah, I mean, it was cool to see it. But the idea that it's like the number one vacation spot, did they say vacation spot just in the Midwest, or was it the entire country? It's like, you got to be kidding. Either way, no.
Okay, can you pull up Emily for me?
Yeah, which one? Yeah,
Emily. I am also
OBX
on Nag's Head, and then Whalehead. If you head up the coast there, if you're willing to go in one lane traffic for 9 hours, be off the island at 6 a.m. But yes, I'm OBX, born and raised. Well, not born and raised, but East Coast. And OBX is like, and when I hit, when you think beach in your brain, for me, it's OBX. It's not chocolates and horse manure and $9 scotches on the water.
Oh, you got the cheap scotch, huh?
Listen, I was going to be there for 2 hours. So quantity, not quality.
All right, let's get to the recruiting stuff. I could talk about Connor Stallions and horse poop together throughout the rest of the show. They go hand in hand. All right, so fans are, hey, they're fanatics. It's a fan, what fan is short for. So people are I don't know if freaking out is right, Dan, but people are very frustrated with recruiting. So not every Buckeye fan, not everybody. A lot of Buckeye fans are still basking, but people are frustrated with recruiting, especially D-line recruiting. And if you really want to drill down on that, like defensive end recruiting, they're not really very pleased with defensive tackle recruiting because they have 3 D tackles, but they're all 3 stars. Last year they signed 3 D tackles, all 3 stars. I think Maxwell Roy is actually I think in the composite, he's actually a 4-star, but I have to go back and look. But defensive end, people are frustrated with that. I get it, but Ohio State, I'll say this, Ohio State has the number 6 class in the nation right now. It seems like we do this every year. Everything ends up turning out okay. Your thoughts on Ohio State fans, being a little frustrated with how recruiting's going so far?
I definitely get it. Definitely, because these guys have just watched, despite them being pilloried for most of their time here. I mean, the Jack Sawyer and J.T. Tuamoloau were top guys in their class, big time. So I think there's some angst that we're not getting the elite of the elite guys according to the rankings. I will say the Kerry Wilder pickup clearly will end up justifying itself rankings-wise. I think he'll move up. But keep in mind, this is what I think is happening. Now, I don't know this for a fact, But I've given this a good amount of thought, and I went and did a little research on it. Keep in mind that the prices for individuals have gone up precipitously. So you've got guys on your current roster. So look at the 4 guys who are going to be starting on the defensive line this year. Caden Curry, Kenyatta Jackson, Caden McDonald, and Edric Houston, assuming Bo Atkinson doesn't work his way in there, which is very possible. But I'm saying those 4, they've been in the program now a combined 10 years with no starts, basically, really. So you're going to bring in a defensive end as a freshman this year that's making more than those guys because the rates have likely gone above what they're making. You follow what I'm saying here? Like, the price has spiked so quickly for these defensive linemen that guys are getting paid in the incoming class this year more than a lot of your returning guys. So that's dangerous. When you I think Ohio State made this clear from the jump. They weren't going to pay for guys to upset the apple cart salary scale wise, unless the player was, justifiably worth the money. So here's another thing that I think has happened, and I'll add this in at the same time. As the money super spiked, which is the most recent class, they had the best player and they paid him, and he was the best freshman, and then they won the national championship. So we haven't had reason to worry about the huge payday yet, because I think it's fair to assume the number 1 in terms of payment in the most recent class was Jeremiah, and number 2 was Edric Houston. Both are considered big-time scores. So we haven't been burned on a big-time guy yet, when you are going to get burned on these guys. That's not an arguable point. So I went back and did this. So if this started, let's say hypothetically, Dave, that all this money started getting paid out in 2017 with the 2017 class, okay? So if you go back and look at Ohio State's top guys they would have paid, this is how it would have worked out. In 2017, it would have been Chase Young. Money well spent. Second would have gone to Baron Browning. Do you think people would have thought that was money well spent? The Broncos do. Did he ever play here to the money he would have taken as one of the top defensive players out of Texas with a dad who was a coach? Doubtful. 2018, top defensive guy we got would have been a bidding war. Teron Vincent. Think everyone would have been psyched with that, winning that bidding war? Definitely not. 2019, we would have been in a bidding war with Michigan for Zach Harrison. Think that would have worked out beautifully for everybody? Don't think so. 2020, we would have been in a bidding war, guaranteed, with Penn State for Julian Fleming. People wouldn't have been psyched about that. 2021, we won the bidding war for Quinn Ewers. That didn't work out. 2022, our highest paid player would have been defensive end, linebacker, C.J. Hicks. That doesn't necessarily work out. 2023, we paid for Noah Rogers. He was the 3rd rated guy, even though he was the 3rd receiver. The 2nd lowest rated player in the class, Austin Sierreveld, probably would have gotten as low as you could pay anybody to come to Ohio State. And then 2024, we nailed it with Jeremiah Smith and Edric Houston. Now, I'm not saying we don't want to be in a bidding war, but you got to be right. And the fact is, we haven't been wrong yet. And so no one really knows what it looks like. And there is no way to be right every time. So I'm not saying we shouldn't be in a bidding war for some guys. You could not spend enough money on Jeremiah Smith. I get it. Keep this in mind, too. Jeremiah is only going to be here for another 2 years. And when he comes up, that's probably 2 slots for guys to come in after that. So got to be careful with this. I don't disagree that we probably may have overcorrected. And now I get back to this point. They have earned the benefit of the doubt, in my opinion. What the benefit of the doubt means is when you start to doubt them, like now, you give them the benefit. It doesn't mean when things are going great, you're like, give them the benefit of the doubt. There's doubt now, and I'm saying they've earned the benefit. If this doesn't work, if this recruiting class flames out, if they lose games next year based on what we can objectively say was they didn't pay enough, I'll switch sides. But right now they have, the most high profile 2 players in football and college football are on this team. That's not true. Arch Manning would be in there. I apologize. But the number 1 defensive player, number 1 offensive player. And I'm just not going to get on their case about it when they won the national championship. And we spent the whole year hearing how they overpaid and they won. And now we're hearing how they underpaid. So I'm not sure which it is. I don't know if we attack this with the greatest level of accuracy, given the fact that we don't really know behind closed doors what everyone's getting. They have a plan, man. Quarterback, wide receiver, and then spread it out on defense. If it doesn't work, we'll freak out. We are the defending national champs. You're going to have the top defensive player in football and offensive player this year, and he's going to be coming back. So I'm not going to get worked up about it. And like I say the same thing about Larry every time, and everyone gets on my case for it. This argument that they're making that Larry's over the hill or he's too old and he can't do it has never changed. This started when he got here. There were people recruiting against his age when he got here. That was long enough ago that I got to do math in my head. So I'm just not going to worry about it. And I'm not saying I'm right, but they have earned the benefit of the doubt.
I think you're right. And Asian Posh Doreen, even more importantly, thinks you're right. So
I'm done. Show's over.
Seems like unanimous. Queen Doreen says you're right. I had a chance to meet Asian Posh Doreen. I got a chance to meet D. Sanchez, Mr. Sanchez, right before the spring game, doing a pregame show over there. So that was really cool. And Buck Rational and many others. So that was awesome. Buck Rational. I knew there was something. He was like, he said his name, but he said like there was something in his eyes. He shook my hand. I'm like, Dave Biddle. And he goes, but you know me as Buck Rational. I'm like, it was really cool. All right, let me get to this question here. This is from Larry on YouTube. Good morning, Bucknutters. Guys, if there was anything you could change in our recruiting, what would it be? Thanks. If there's anything we could change, I'm happy with the way it's going. Obviously, I'd love to have the number 1 class every year, but my gosh, since Mark Pantoni's been here, since Urban Meyer arrived, and then they've just carried it on. I mean, you have Mark Pantoni, you have Ryan Day and his staff. Brian Hartline's the best at what he does. Tim Walton's the best at what he does. I'm happy. I'm still basking, Dan. I don't know what I would change, really. I like how Ohio State's doing it. They take care of guys that they know are studs. There's a few guys that are high school kids that they know are studs. I would throw Devin Sanchez in that. I'm not just saying that because his mom is a loyal listener. He's one that would fit in that mold. Obviously, Jeremiah Smith, Edric Houston. There's going to be a couple every year, but I like that they're not just going after every kid that they want who's chasing every last penny. But if you're at Ohio State and you prove yourself and you're thinking, I might be a 2nd or 3rd round pick, how about we take care of you and you come back for another year? I love how Ohio State's doing it. We'll see.
I agree. I mean, we won the national championship. I still can't. I mean, who didn't we get? The only guy that we haven't gotten that I think in retrospect was handled poorly was Dylan Stewart, the defensive end who goes to South Carolina several years ago. And I honestly think that was before they got adjusted to the payment. But you got to have money well spent here. Trust me, we're basking in the glow of doing it the right way. Had we done it the wrong way, had we not won the national championship, I don't think people would be psyched with the amount of money we paid out. So hindsight is 20/20, but got to take everything with somewhat of a realistic approach.
So next week, Big Ten Media Days kick off. Dan won't be in Vegas, but might be on maybe in Nags Head or somewhere like that next week. But Big Ten Media Days next week, man, in Vegas. Even though it's in Vegas, it's still Ohio State's. All their stuff is just one day. But I'm really curious, and I like what Ryan Day's doing here. I was thinking, man, hopefully he sends Jeremiah Smith. That would probably be out of character for how Ohio State does it, sending a sophomore. Every media guy is going to want Jeremiah there. Fans are going to want to hear from Jeremiah, and he's bringing Jeremiah, as we know. It was fait accompli. I mean, there was no doubt in my mind he was going to bring Sonny Styles. He's bringing Sonny Styles. Sonny's going to wear the Blocko. They haven't announced that yet, the zero. this year. I'm sure he will. And then Caleb Downs being the other one. It's just nice walking into Big Ten Media Days as the king, man. As a defending national, that there's just that sense you just walk in there and you're the defending national champion. It feels good. But he's going to get peppered with a lot of questions about Michigan, I have no doubt. But I love the way Ryan Day handles himself, and I'm really looking forward to Big Ten Media Days next week. SEC Media Days kick off, I believe, today. They're definitely this week. They either kick off today or tomorrow. I think today. So SEC Media Days this week, Big Ten Media Days next week.
I don't know, Dave, have you ever seen the movie Dazed and Confused?
Of course I have.
Wooderson and Randall Pink Floyd and another dude walk into the pool hall and the song Hurricane's going.
Of course.
And it perfectly captures the vibe of you and your boys when you walk into a bar and you feel like you're better than you are. And you feel like because you're kind of also walking on the ground, but walking on everyone's shoulders. Because I just imagine Ryan Day walking in with that trio. That would give you some confidence. You know what I mean? 3 of the most finely tuned, best college football players who also all 3 are, NFL prototypes. Must feel really good to walk in the room with that. I don't think they'll be like carrying him on one of those things. What do they call that for the king? But I wouldn't mind them coming through with a spotlight and splitting the crowd with that trio. Like you enter a fight. So, yeah, those 3 guys, look, you want to talk recruiting? That's how you should pay. 5-star guys who are great dudes, who play hard and are no risk. That's 3 of them right there. I don't think it's any coincidence that they come from tremendous families. I've said this about football recruiting and basketball recruiting, and Ohio State could do it too. When you're Duke or one of those schools now, Duke doesn't recruit, they select. Duke's not going after guys that are going to break up the locker room. They want the total package. You got to be able to play, you got to be able to be humble, and you got to be able to be, presentable. Nothing better than that trio. Guys who can, play is one thing. You're talking about sending in Ed Reed, Julio Jones, and, Sonny's as talented as a guy yet, hasn't even done as much as them, I would think, in terms of really rocking the meter. So they will put on a show there in terms of total packaging. I imagine Ryan will do a lot of smiling.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. If it'll be live on Big Ten Network. All 3 days will be live, so you guys can all check it out, and we'll have wall-to-wall coverage on Bucknuts. I want to get to this because I've talked about this a little bit. This is from No Way 87 on YouTube. Last year was a bargain compared to what it's going to become. That's right. And Ross Bjork, I really like Ross Bjork. That doesn't mean I agree about everything, but I really, really like Ross Bjork, and I think he's like the perfect AD for Ohio State right now. He knows he shouldn't have come out there and said the $20 million. He now kind of makes fun of it and says, numbers create narratives, as we've learned. But I will say this. People acted like Ohio State was the only one spending $20 million last year. I guarantee Texas was spending just as much or more. Quinn Ewers himself was making $4 or $5 million, maybe more than that. We know Nico was making $4 million or whatever at Tennessee. Maybe it wasn't quite that much. Was it $2.2 million? Whatever. It was people made too much of it. But I said at the time after they won the title, I was like, we're going to look back on this and say that was the best $20 million ever spent. That was actually a bargain because it's just going to go up, up, up. I didn't think it'd be going up this much this fast. You're going to have teams like Texas Tech. They're going to be spending in the $50 million range and other schools like that. So it's going to be funny, Dan, when we look back, all the talk about money and Ohio State, the best team money can buy. We're going to look back on that 2024 Ohio State roster as an absolute awesome bargain for the Buckeyes.
It's also, Dave, how much of that number was paid to first-year players or rookies or freshmen? Most of the money Ohio State paid out last year was to transfers, a few hand-picked transfers. Did they do well? Is Will Howard good at football? Did Caleb Downs perform to your liking? Who else? Quinshon Judkins. And, in light of current events, maybe the shine's off, but he's a very good football player for us. And that, I think that point also brings up the scale has spiked precipitously. You can't be bringing in unproven guys who get paid more than, Jermaine Matthews and, Sonny Stein. That just doesn't make any sense. You'll upset the apple cart. So, like I said, I'm not freaking out about it by any stretch. Defensive end's a crapshoot anyway, man. Noah Spence was the favorite guy I've ever seen. And we used to talk about Noah Spence being a better pickup than Joey Bosa. We were wrong. Very, very, very wrong. So let's let these guys kind of do their gig here. I get it. If we were Texas Tech or another Texas A&M, a program that's super paying. I mean, I can't. I was wrong. I did not like Felix Ojo got $5.1 million. He should have taken it. If someone offers you $5 million when you're 18, that's life. You're done. I mean, his leg could fall off, and he's financially independent with some smart planning over the next X number of years. I did not think the cost was going to spike that precipitously, but it has. Texas Tech's not winning the national championship, Dave.
No, I don't think they will. I don't know if they'll even win the Big 12, but maybe they will win the Big 12. But, yeah, I won't go any further than that. All right, happy birthday to a couple of Bucknutters out there, Lisa and Mac, celebrating birthdays this week, right? I think you both have birthdays on the 17th, so happy birthday. So you guys talking about that. Some of our other listeners talking about that in the chats. I want to do say happy birthday to Lisa and Mac. All right, I want to get to this as well. I mean, what's up with Quinshawn? We know that Quinshawn has been accused of domestic violence. I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard his side of the story yet. There's two sides of every story. I don't know. Obviously, when something like this happens, it's bad and you can just shake your head. But we don't know his side of the story yet. I don't know. I don't know what else to add to that, Mr. Rubin.
Yeah, it's the off season, you sleep with one eye open. I mean, you're talking about. I mean, these guys put themselves in tough positions. Sometimes they handle it poorly. I'd like to see more information come out on it, but obviously it's a terrible situation. If he did what they said, he should be punished. Very simple. I read an article this morning. There's more stuff coming out. So I think, my judgment isn't necessary here, but I'll reserve it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I want to get out of here on this. So the SCORE Act. I don't know if you followed this at all. So Congress is trying to get the SCORE Act through, another legislation that would kind of helps college sports out. I'm in favor of this stuff. I just seriously question if it's going to hold up. Now if all of Congress, if they can get it through the Senate, sounds like it'll get through the House. I don't know if it'll get through the Senate. If it does, that's great news. The SCORE Act. But again, though, man, are they really going to be able to cap how much these kids make? I just don't know how it's going to hold up. I hope I'm wrong, though, because I want these guardrails. And I guess that this would be the way to do it. You have both the House and the Senate sign off on it, and then the president would have to sign it. Maybe it'll happen. I hope I'm wrong. I hope this does happen.
You know what's it starting to sound like to me? When you ever used to watch the Peanuts when you were a little kid and the parents would talk, I'm like,
Charlie Brown's teacher. Yeah.
This is now what it all sounds like to me. I don't even care. I'm getting to the point where, number one, I'm not smart enough to follow it because they start talking about government and law. Hello, if I can handle either one of those, I wouldn't be talking about football for a living. And B or 2 or C, I don't care anymore. Here's what I know for a fact. We are the defending national champs. Mm-hmm. Football matters more at Ohio State than it does basically anywhere else on the earth. And no matter what happens, we're going to be sweet. I'm serious.
Amen. I know you're serious, and I'm serious that I seriously agree with you because we're still basking. Great stuff from Dan. Great stuff from all of you. Appreciate you guys. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Go Bucks. And, of course, still basking.